Welcome to the SwimSwam Podcast. I'm Coleman Hodges. I'm joined today by Kieran Smith. Kieran, how are you doing today?
Good. I'm very well. Thanks. Appreciate it.
Yeah. So I thought we could start by kind of talking about your background in swimming. When did you start swimming?
I started swimming on a team when I was 6 at Ridgefield Aquatic Club, and I stayed through that club my whole pre-collegiate level. I started swimming because my brother was into swimming, and I was kind of getting dragged along to swim meets. So I just decided one day to kind of join him and get on the team.
What's one of your earliest or fondest earliest swimming memories?
Oh, probably my first time going to the Eastern Zone meet when I was 9. That was a really fun meet. It kind of introduced me to higher level competition, and a very good element of like a team environment. And I also got to meet some friends that I still keep in touch with today.
Yeah. Yeah. And where was that meet for you?
The short course one was always in Webster, New York, upstate New York, kind of by Rochester.
Gotcha.
Mm-hmm.
Nice. And so, I know I went through, I swam through high school, and I know there was a period where I was about 11 to 13, where I really disliked swimming and didn't want to do it anymore. But my parents were like, well, you have to do some sport. And I think I disliked every other sport more. And so I was like, fine, I'll keep swimming. And then I eventually, had an appreciation for it. Also looking up to my older brother and kind of seeing him move through it. And I was like, oh, okay, like this isn't so bad. This is pretty cool. Did you ever have a period where you were down on swimming or not as enthusiastic about it?
Yes, absolutely. I played baseball until I was 10 or 11 simultaneously while swimming, but I realized that I was much better at swimming pretty early on. 9, 10, or 11, I was pretty good. I was doing well on a state level and even on a zone level. But once I was like 12, 13, and even a little bit into 14, I wasn't growing as much as everyone else, and I kind of fell behind the curve a little bit. I wasn't as fast, and I felt like everyone that I was once beating was starting to just like get way better than me, and I was a little discouraged for a while, but I'm glad I stuck to it, and here we are now. I think it was a good motivator as well to keep trying to find new ways to get better.
Yeah, certainly. Do you remember? Do you have specific ways you were able to kind of supplement that non-growth when you were 13, 14 into those high school years?
Well, yeah, sort of. I kind of realized that without the advantage of like growth and development aiding your athletic performance, there's a lot of things that you need to do in the pool. You just have to remain really, really focused, and you have to, it goes without saying, go into every practice and really giving everything you got in those practices. And I had good rehearsal doing that when I was 12, 13, 14, and not necessarily getting much better, but it paid off through my high school and college years.
Yeah.
So far.
Yeah, definitely. So what was high school swimming like? I know high school swimming is such a different thing from state to state, seemingly. And you're from Connecticut. So what is the high school swimming culture like there?
It's a pretty big deal. We were one of the bigger schools in the state. There's 4 subdivisions. It's small S, M, L, and double L, and we're in the double L because we have a naturally bigger school than most around the state. So we'd always compete with other really big like powerhouse schools, and usually the double L schools were the ones that were competing for a state title. And my freshman year, we were second, I think, and that was my highest finish through my high school career. But but yeah, it was really fun. I really enjoyed high school swimming. We would have our state meet at the Yale exhibition pool, the Kipeth pool, which is like stadium seating, and it's a really, really old historic pool, not very fast, but it bounces sound off the whole place, and it's really, really loud, and it's really fun swim meet every year.
Yeah. And did you switch up your events at all from freshman to senior year?
I swam the 500 free all 4 years, but I think I swam the 2 IM my freshman year, and then I switched to the 200 freestyle. Um, I could have swam either one, but we kind of lacked 200 freestylers while we still had some pretty good 200 IMers. So I was just doing whatever I could to score maximum points for the team.
Yeah. And do you have a fondest memory from your high school swimming days?
My senior year meet was really, really good. Our relays were really good. And then my individual races were also pretty good at the time. I remember we fully shaved and tapered for the last one just for fun, because I think my club short course meet was like 4 days later. Like we were leaving pretty soon after the meet, so we kind of prepared for both as if they were both the last big competitions of the year. And I was 134 in the 2 free and 418 in the 500, and I was really happy to solidify those records in the state, and hopefully they'll be there for a little while.
Yeah, those pretty stout records. I would think. I don't know. I honestly don't know how.
At least in Connecticut swimming, they're not too bad.
Yeah.
In California, I mean, California and Texas, those would be wiped out real quick.
But that seems pretty stout. And so, when did you make your verbal commitment to Florida?
It was June 2017. So it was right when my junior year was wrapping up in school. Okay. And it was right before World Championship trials.
Okay. How did those go for you?
Oh, that was a great meet. That was one of my breakout meets, I'd say, for international competition, because I qualified for the World Juniors at that meet, and which is something that I thought I could do. And I set a really big goal for that in March of that year. So that was really fun to qualify in multiple events.
Yeah. And and that was in Indy, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
How was that meet for you?
So much better than trials the year before. I hated trials in 16. I don't know why, but I knew I wasn't making any teams of any sorts, and I was kind of just there because I just squeaked in for the 4 a.m. So I swam on the first day, and I was like, oh, then I could relax the rest of the meet, enjoy some really fast swimming. But for some reason, I was just like so stressed out at trials, probably because there was way more people than I ever thought there'd be. And like, I just remember feeling like I was going to pass out on the blocks for no reason, and didn't swim well there. And then the next year it was similar environment. It was a little better because we got to, the teams get to sit on deck at that meet at least. And there's still a lot of people there. And I remember walking out for the 4 a.m. final and kind of looking up and seeing like way more people than I thought were actually there. And it was really fun to see. And I swam well at that final. So that was like a good breakthrough moment for me.
Yeah. I mean, I think you got to give trials is Olympic trials is like a stressful meet. I was stressed out that whole time, and I wasn't even swimming there.
Yeah.
I mean, that's like you walk on deck there and you can cut the tension with a knife. There's just so much anxiety and emotion that's being thrown into the pool that I get it, I'm sure even as like fans, you're just like tense, but that's cool that you kind of bounced back and had that trials meet in 17 go really well for you.
Yeah, I was really happy about that.
So was there, obviously there's a lot of reasons that go into, you making a verbal commitment as a junior to the University of Florida, but was there something like before you went on a trip or had any sort of contact with coaches, was there anything that stood out to you about Florida? Did you have an inkling that you might pick that school anyway?
No, not before any coaches reached out.
Okay.
I think it was like my sophomore year of high school when I first made the trial cut. I kind of like sat down and was like, okay, I could take this to a university level and maybe hopefully get a scholarship and take this kind of far, hopefully. Mm-hmm. So I wrote down like 10 schools, and over the next year and a half, I kind of crossed them off slowly and made, kind of tried to figure out where I'd fit in the best, and just came down to Florida. And I can't exactly tell you why, because it was just like the first time I went on campus, it was like November of my junior year. I was already kind of sold. I can't really explain it, because I was going on other trips still and checking out other schools. But the whole time I was like, man, Florida's the best out of all of this. Like nothing can beat Florida.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it was an easy decision. It seemed like when it came down to it.
Yeah, definitely. Did that kind of make it pretty easy for you senior year, just kind of knowing that you had a future in swimming and in school?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that made senior year fly by. A lot of people get senioritis when they're committed to a school and they don't try in school, and their swimming kind of falters a little bit. But I felt like I maintained those two elements of my life pretty good, just because I knew that I had something to work for once I got to school.
Yeah, definitely. So what was it like coming into Florida as a freshman and going from top dog in Connecticut to not so much, I'm guessing, at a major university with such a decorated swimming history?
It was fantastic. It was awesome. I got my butt kicked for the whole first year pretty much by a bunch of other guys in the pool and in the weight room. I stunk in the weight room my whole entire freshman year. I didn't figure out how to lift weights until that summer.
Had you ever lifted before?
Not the way that we were lifting.
Okay.
Never done an Olympic lift or anything. So
okay.
Like I couldn't figure out how to clean or snatch to save my life, but we figured that out and we've gotten better since then. But yeah, it was a great thing to just kind of get thrown into. I feel like I adapted pretty well, and I felt like I gelled with the team right away. So the team welcomed us, all the freshmen, with open arms, which is just a really great culture and atmosphere to enter your collegiate career into. Yeah.
So event-wise, it seemed like freshman year was kind of had a learning curve to it for you, or at least, or maybe it's just you have the versatility to swim so many different events. What was that experience like for you, kind of not maybe just being able to assume so many different roles?
Yeah, I mean, in high school, me and my coach at RAC, we pride ourselves in training for every event and making sure that all the cylinders are they're ready to go. So we trained like everything up from the 50 freestyle up to the 5K open water. I mean, we just made sure that everything was ready to go. So I came into Florida as an IMer with a good freestyle, like a supplement in freestyle and backstroke. And now I've kind of shifted that to a freestyler with a good supplement in IM. So my freshman year, at NCAAs, we swam the 2 IM, 4 IM, and 2 back, which they all went pretty well. I finaled in all of them, which was awesome for the team. But I had some good freestyle splits on our relays, and we kind of took that through the summer and then again through the fall, and the rest was history.
Yeah, I mean, because you swam on the 200 medley relay too, correct?
Yeah, that was just like a game. That was weird. That was a game time decision because I think it was because we had Maxime. He wanted to swim his 100 free and his 2 fly both the same day, and I think there was like, we weren't quite sure if he was going to swim on all 5 relays and just do 2 events, but we decided that he wanted to do 3 events. So coach just kind of threw me on the fly leg in the morning and had a pretty good split. So threw me again on the final relay.
So how many relays did you end up swimming at NC's your freshman year?
4. I was
okay.
2 free, 4 free, 8 free, and the 2 medley.
Gotcha.
Mm-hmm.
Nice. Did you, again, do you have something that stuck out to you your freshman year, like a good memory or something you really took away from there?
4IM at SEC's. That was such a fun race. Bobby was the winner. I was second, and Grant Sanders was third. And that was like the turning point of the meet. I think we took the lead after that race, and we never looked back. We held the lead for the rest of the meet. And it was just so much fun. I've never had so much fun racing a 4IM.
Yeah. Speaking of, what was it like to have the freshman class that you guys did? Just for you guys to all get on campus. And I mean, that was a really, there's a lot going on in that group.
Yeah. I mean, we were pretty well-rounded. We had a little bit of everything. It was like our freshman meeting. We were looking around and I was like, this is a pretty good group of guys. I mean, we got some real studs in here. And, we're still working with that class, and some guys that weren't quite as impactful last year, freshman year, are really making an impact this year. And we're all kind of we're hoping to emerge as leaders in the next couple of years as we become upperclassmen. And I think with our class, we're in good hands for the next few years.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it from the outside looking in, certainly seems like it. So this year, again, you said you've kind of made the transition to freestyle, supplementing some IM. Has that changed? Has what your training changed look like at all?
Not really. We still do a lot of IM aerobic stuff because that's just really good for your base. Because I mean, don't tell my coaches, but I hate training IM. I think it's brutally hard, especially at Florida. But for the most part, we've been keeping a pretty consistent weekly schedule from last year to this year. The only thing that's really changed is I think I used to do 2 quality days a week of IM, and now we're doing 1 quality day of freestyle and 1 day of IM. So it's just a little bit different.
So what would maybe an example of a quality set be for either freestyle or IM? Like what's a good quality set you had this year?
The classic one last summer was just 2050s on a minute. It's just fast as you can go.
Okay.
20 minutes. That was like our like Thursday afternoon practice, and Nesty made it short. We would come in, we'd warm up around 2000 long course, and then we'd do our set, and then we'd warm down a little bit, and he'd let us go after about an hour and a half, which was nice, but it was also like, it was a pain because it was one of the hardest sets of the week.
Yeah. What would you hold on something like that?
As we got down towards the end of the season, I was doing freestyle. I mean, I hope to keep everything under 28, maybe throw in a couple of 26s at the beginning and the end, but definitely want to sit right around 27 low to mids.
Gotcha. Nice. And so
it's hard. It doesn't sound terribly fast for a guy that goes 406, but it's really, really hard to maintain that.
I mean, that's what you would hold in a 200 free long course. Is that accurate?
It's a little slower than 200 free pace, but
okay,
it's right around there.
Gotcha. I mean, if you're doing 20 of them on a minute, it's.
Give me
Yeah. No.
Hold on. Sorry.
You're good. So So training maybe changed a little, but not too much. So heading into SECs, what were you thinking this year?
In terms of like team goals or personal goals or what?
What were your personal goals heading into SECs?
Well, I didn't really know what I was swimming until about a week before the meet. we kind of entered everything into the meet.
Yeah.
I was entered in like 7 events, and we kind of made a decision pretty close to the meet. But our final dual meet was Tennessee. It was at Tennessee, and Bobby got sick, so I had to swim the 500 freestyle, and I had a pretty good one there. So we kind of I was 418 there.
Okay.
So we kind of messed around with pace in the 5 free, and I was having some really good pace sets. So kind of entered into that, and I was like, okay, well, if I was 418 in a brief, a little beat up, hopefully I can be around 408. 408 would be a good swim. But and it's weird because I rarely go below my goal times, and I crushed my goal time. So it was kind of a nice, happy surprise. But I know now that I can hope to plan for a bigger swim, because it was weird going that fast. I wasn't really expecting it.
What do you remember about the race itself, if anything?
So before the race, I had the 2 free relay, and I was splashed around in the warm down pool, and I had like 35 minutes in between. So Nesty just made sure that I got my nutrition in, and I got my shake or whatever. And he comes up to me, but right before I was going to like get out of the pool and go to the ready room, he says, you can either be really aggressive and go out and try to hang on for a win, or you could hang around and then make a move at the end. And he said, either way, it's going to hurt really bad. And he was right. It hurt pretty bad towards the end. But I do remember that I felt pretty smooth for the first about 250, and I was putting some time on everyone else. So that was encouraging.
Yeah. Did you have any thought, maybe like around the 350, 400, like, did you realize how far ahead of everyone you were?
No, not really. I'll be honest. I remember my counter he wasn't shaking through the whole race. And then his last 2, the 17 and the red, he was shaking really, really hard. So I was like, oh, I could be doing something right now.
Nice. But who knows?
Yeah.
So then, was it your leadoff of the 8 free relay that was 130?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And so did that prepare you at all for like, oh, maybe 408 is like very attainable, or did that kind of?
So actually, I thought my 200 freestyle was going to be better than my 500 freestyle. So I hit the 130. I was like, yeah, that was right around where I thought I could be. So I didn't want to change anything on paper, and I didn't want to think about being too fast in the 5 free. So that was right around where I thought I could be.
Gotcha.
Mm-hmm.
So then, moving forward, obviously we're in this quarantine period now. How have you been handling these last couple months?
Pretty good. Initially everyone was really bummed about all the decisions that were being made about NCAAs and the Olympics, but they turned out to be the right decisions, because I couldn't imagine having to be stressing over, preparing for an Olympic trials. That wouldn't be ideal. But over the past couple of months, I've just been trying to just stay fit the best I can, not gain any weight, and be smart about my nutrition and catch up on some sleep. I've been sleeping pretty good. And I'm also finding out new things that I enjoy doing that I didn't know that I liked. I really enjoy cycling with my father. We do pretty long rides over the weekend, and I tend to hate running, like especially on the road or even on a track, because I go way too fast to start, and then by like minute 20, I'm dying and I can't feel my legs. But one thing that I have been doing is I've been like running and like scrambling on hiking trails in Ridgefield, which are gorgeous, first of all. And like the terrain like sets my pace for me, because you can't really run that fast when you have like rocks and tree branches and stuff. So it's something that I enjoy doing just to get away for a couple hours. So
Certainly. Yeah. So in terms of cycling, how long are you and your dad going on the weekends?
on the weekends, on Saturday, we did 35 miles. Our longest ride was 2 weeks ago. I think we were 56 miles, which was really, really, it was a beautiful day. It was really refreshing, and it was like
Nice.
perfect weather.
Yeah, that's awesome. I'm imagining Connecticut around this time is pretty nice.
It was pretty bad last week. It was pretty rainy, but we've
Okay.
had a stretch of 4 days of nice sun and warm temperatures. So
Yeah. Do you feel like, a lot of people I've talked to emotionally have kind of described this period as a roller coaster. I know, there's just, you have some good days and you have some bad days where you maybe even can't explain why you're really feeling down in the dumps. But there's certainly, maybe a sense of loss or anger or grief, just from everything that's changing. Um, have you felt that, and have you found maybe some ways of dealing with that you didn't have before?
yeah, especially like when it was first getting going, like the whole thing, and they shut down facilities and they started canceling. I had to deal with that in a different way than I ever had. I journaled for a while. I just wrote down what I was feeling, and that helped. And yeah, I would just try to take it day by day and see what I could do to enjoy my day. And just wake up in the morning and say, okay, well, this is real, and like I'm not going to be competing or swimming for a while. So what can I do to make it a little better? I mean,
Yeah.
I'm really thankful that, I'm in a good situation here in Ridgefield, where my dad is still working at home, and we have a pretty good supply of fresh foods that I can turn to, but that's not the case for everyone. So I'm just thankful that everyone that I know is safe and healthy.
Yeah, I think a day by day approach has certainly been something that's been helpful to me. Kind of keeping things in perspective, and yeah, realizing what we have and what others might not have.
Mm-hmm.
Have you picked up any new hobbies aside from maybe the fitness aspect?
Yes, actually. I used to when I was like 15 and below, I'd golf in the summer occasionally, but I really haven't used my clubs in a while. But I'm fortunate enough to be able to golf sometimes on a private course that we belong to, which has really been nice. I stink at it, but it's fun to go whack something with a big club occasionally and try to see if I can get better at something.
Yeah, definitely. I feel like having something to get better at. Like at my girlfriend's house where I've been staying at for some of this period, they have, like, the neighborhood has a basketball court, and like same thing, like shooting
Yeah.
hoops. I'm terrible at, but it's nice to like go day after day and kind of like see like, oh, I'm progressing.
Yeah. I stink at basketball too.
Yeah, it's. I mean, yeah, definitely. I wouldn't assume it's many swimmers' strong sport, but it is enjoyable.
The only
Uh,
thing I'm good at is that when we play with some of the guys at UF is I'm good at standing under the hoops and grabbing rebounds and putting them back in.
yeah.
It's the only thing I'm good at.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. How tall are you?
6'6",
Yeah,
so
I
that
mean
helps.
that does help. I'm 5'8", so it's like I'm never. It's over for me, but it's okay. um, so moving on to just maybe some more general swimming. Do you have a favorite swimming memory of a race that you've watched, maybe in person or on TV?
Uh-huh. Oh, that's a good question. Oh my gosh. I don't know. I would say I could tell you the swim that sticks out to me as the best swim of all time.
Sure.
I would say that Ian Thorpe's 400 freestyle in 1999 or 2000, when he went 3:41.8 in a brief at like 16 years old, is the greatest swim of all time. I mean, that is ridiculous to do that in a brief as a teenager in a time where, technology and training wasn't at its peak yet. And that is, I think, I do look up to Ian Thorpe's stroke and his swimming style. I mean, it's just beautiful. I love watching replays of Thorpe's swims.
He has certainly one of like the most natural looking, prettiest strokes I think I've ever seen.
I agree.
And I think that's awesome to hear. I think you wouldn't get an answer like that from many Americans, but that's cool. And I agree with you that, like, yeah, in a brief 3:41, that's just insane. Especially when like 3:42, I think, won world champs last summer.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. He's still competing for medals.
Yeah.
With those times.
Yeah. What do you have an opinion on how do you think technology has affected that middle distance swimming? Because like for so many of his races, he was in a full body. And then we had obviously like the 2008, 2009 suits, and even today's suits, I mean, I'm guessing, you wear today's suits. I mean, I'm guessing they bring a significant impact on your swims.
Yeah, I mean, technology today is way better than it was in 2010 when they just banned the rubber suits.
Right.
I mean, we've come a long way in just 10 years with just the textile suits. But as for how it's like impacted middle distance swimming, I think like Thorpe and like Park Tae-won in 2008 when he was another 3:40, like they're just like naturally just like perfect strokes that are just like amazing for 200, 400 freestyles. And they attack their races like no other. I mean, Thorpe used to go out under 150 consistently, and no one's doing that anymore. I think a lot has to do with not the technology, but the way people are swimming a 400 freestyle. I think people race a 400 freestyle really well, but no one really like tries to attack it from the beginning. Mm-hmm. So I think people I'm not gonna say should, but I think people are capable of starting to make a change to really, really going out after a 400 freestyle and hopefully getting closer to being under 3:40.
I feel like it's just like gut wrenching how many. There haven't been like a ton, but there's been a few times when people have come so close to 3:39.
Yeah. I can think of like 4 or 5 guys off the top of my head.
Yeah, exactly. It's and not quite there, but it is interesting that, I mean, I think from my perspective, it doesn't seem like the technology has bolstered it. So has bolstered, especially that event that much. I would say the 200 and the 400 free, because you had all these greats that were doing it kind of before that technology. And then it seems like there hasn't been a dip, but people are still kind of going those same times. Go ahead. So for the 400 free, would you say that in order to get under 3:30, you just need to start going out faster?
Yes, absolutely. I don't think someone could go under 3:40 by negative splitting it. I mean, Biederman was close, but he was with the aid of a really nice suit. Mm-hmm. But not to take anything away from him, he was an incredible swimmer, and he had a good legacy in international swimming and in German swimming through 2012. But Yeah, I'd say if someone wants to go under 340 in the next, I don't know, 4 years in the next quad, probably going to have to be right around sitting like 148 at the 200 and just hanging on for dear life.
So would you say that you need more speed work or conditioning for that? Like, do you just have to put in the yardage, or do you need the speed, or what would you say the balance is there?
I don't know. That's a good question. From my experience at Florida so far and my 500-yard freestyle, it's not the same race, but it's kind of similar.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm in a big yardage program right now. There's a lot of yards to be swum during the week in Florida. And for me, it just kind of happened to so that like the with the yardage and the conditioning I'm doing and the not minimal, but not as much speed work as say 100 freestyler would be doing. It just the 500 freestyle felt so natural at the SECs. And I think it was because of, that good balance of a lot of yards and some speed work.
Mm-hmm. So, I mean, yeah, so you're saying kind of maybe 2/3 and 1/3.
Maybe. I don't know. I'd say that's a good fraction to put on it.
Yeah. So you're at US Open in December, you went 347 in the 400.
Yeah.
Tell me about that race.
That was a good swim. I mean, we didn't have any rest. We hardly had any rest. I mean, with the Thanksgiving break, we all got sent home the week before the meet. So that kind of helped to train with our club teams. And, I was at a different spot, but my club team obviously doesn't do as much yards as Florida. So I got to come down a little bit naturally while training home. And then we came back. We had 3 days before the meet, I think. And we came down just a tiny bit, just so we could feel kind of like fresh. And I didn't feel that fresh, I'll be honest. I felt kind of sluggish in the 800 freestyle on the first day. And then the 400, again, it was like that perfect like medium. Like that was the best feeling race of the whole meet. And it was really happy with the time. I mean, that was the best time in kind of a weird training situation.
Yeah. What do you remember what you went out in that race in the two, like what you were at the 200?
I remember I attacked it. I remember I think I was 152 on the way out. 152
Okay.
like mid to low.
Yeah.
Because I think that was like my game plan. I wanted to I was swimming from like lane 2, so I'll see if I can just like get out and not see anyone the whole race and hopefully take a win. But the guy next to me, DaCosta, he was right on my hip the whole time, and he blew me away the last 100. He killed me.
Yeah, I feel like that's kind of his MO. but he also had a stellar meet.
Oh yeah,
he broke 3 South American records at that meet.
Yeah. He made his Olympic cuts and everything.
Yeah,
he was a good competitor the whole meet.
Yeah. So if at SECs, if you had swam the 400 free instead of that 500 free final, what do you think you would have gone?
Oh, I don't know.
And you don't have to put a number on it if you don't want to.
I don't want to hype myself up too much and don't want to sound like cocky or anything, but I think maybe like 341, 342.
Yeah. So we'll say a modest 342.
Yeah. That sounds good. Because, I was 348 in Knoxville a month before. So I bet I could have dropped about 6 seconds from that swim.
341.9.
Thank you.
That's my take.
All right.
Kieran Smith said 342. He's not being cocky. Coleman Hodges said 341. So I mean, that seems right to me, given the trajectory. But, that I feel like confidence wise, that must put you in a pretty good place just heading into the future.
Yeah. I mean, I was really, really excited to swim that race on the first day of trials and hopefully get started to a really good meet. But I'll have to wait another year, I guess.
Yeah. Which, maybe to wrap things up here, do you think, how are you feeling just kind of moving forward? Today World Championships were announced as being moved to 2022. We know that trials and Olympics are a year away. We know there might be some sort of meet situation at the mid to late August. How are you feeling moving forward through this?
Amongst the craziness of the pandemic, I think this is also a really good time to just kind of reset, clean slate in my mind, because I came in last fall just like full steam ahead, like really intensely focused the whole year for the end goal of making an Olympic team. So now I just kind of have to, control my excitement a little bit, just make sure that I'm doing everything I can to make sure that I can come in September with the same attitude that I did last year. And hopefully everything works out so that we can have a good opportunity at a safe and successful trials.
Yeah. Well, awesome. Thank you so much for your time, Kieran. I really appreciate it.
Yeah. Thanks for calling me. Appreciate it.